Hi everyone, it's Sarah, your career and leadership expert, but tonight I'm going to tackle something that's coming up on Sunday, which we probably all know about, even if we have been locked down in our homes, and that's Valentine's Day. So, which can be a whole mixed bag of emotions really. So I thought I'd talk about some ways in which you can appreciate and love yourself. Now, obviously, if you're in a relationship with a partner, now's the opportunity to show appreciation and gratitude for your partner, but that doesn't have to be on one day of the year. It doesn't have to be on one day of the year. Obviously, good relationships are a sum of everyday efforts that are made with somebody to help them feel appreciated, show gratitude towards them, not just on one day of the year, not just one big gesture. I think there was a survey actually that was done by a psychologist that asked women, would you rather have one bunch of flowers once a year or a rose every day of the year? And the women said, I'd rather have a rose every day of the year. And the guy that was running the experiment couldn't believe it. He was like, what? Are they crazy? Don't they just want one big bunch of flowers? And that wasn't the case. So that shows the differences perhaps between men and women. But if you have got a partner, I hope you really, really enjoy it, despite the conditions that we're in. There's loads of stuff you can do online, gifts and things you can buy to show appreciation, or just do something simple. You know, it doesn't always have to be a really big dramatic gesture. I think it's more about the person that you are to your partner. 9 times out of 10, none of us are perfect, rather than a big gimmick. But if you are with a partner, then have a great time, really enjoy it. But if you're not with somebody, I'm going to go through some stuff that's all about gratitude and appreciation and why it's important. And actually, if you are in a couple, there's no reason why you can't do some of the tools, techniques, exercises I'm going to show with your partner to further enhance your relationship, because gratitude has been shown to be one of the practices, even simple thank yous, that really enhance career performance, performance at work, relationships of any nature. It's been shown, and I'll come on to that in a bit, about how it improves your results generally. So however you express it, whether it's something you want to do for yourself or do it with your partner, say, hey, you know, our relationship, what are we grateful about, you know, and perhaps the lockdown has, well, hopefully made you appreciate certain things. I know that's not the case for everybody, because it's a challenging time, but I'll come on to that in a minute in terms of appreciation, gratitude, okay? And as I say, you can do it by yourself or you can do it with your partner, unless you think that's really cheesy, in which case just have a beer. Anyway, so first things first, if you are with somebody, have a great day, really enjoy it. Why not? But also, if you are not with somebody and you're feeling a bit like, oh my God, really, Valentine's Day, just maybe remember, sorry guys, that it is really a marketing gimmick. Because Valentine's Day, I did some research today, and Valentine's Day came about, I think it was like in the 3rd century AD, and it was Emperor Claudius II or somebody in Rome. I'm not a great historian, as you can tell. He actually executed 2 people called Valentine on the 14th of February. So it was hardly romantic, but I don't know how it's evolved, but it has become Valentine's Day, more of a symbol of martyrdom. Whereas it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because martyrdom is not really a positive relationship trait that you might want to cultivate in your relationship, in any relationship. So I thought I'd share that with you, just to G you up a bit if you're feeling like, oh God, what is this all about? Anyway, it is a marketing gimmick, and you know, from what I was saying before, that really being in a relationship, yes, it's nice to make those gestures, it's nice to celebrate events together, but being happy and healthy within yourself is the real foundation. Because if you're not happy, confident within yourself, if you have a lot of insecurity and self-esteem issues, that is going to affect your relationship. Your partner's probably going to get the brunt of it. You might have like ongoing circular arguments that never resolve themselves. It manifests itself in all sorts of ways, you know, like fears. Acting out on our fears can lead to arguments. You know, we all have fears, concerns, worries in relationships, but there's the difference between sitting down and working as a team to go, hey babe, you know, can you help me out with something? Or, you know, I'm curious about this, you know, I've noticed this, rather than pointing the finger at somebody else. Because if you start pointing the finger at somebody else, saying you do this, you do that, you do the other, that person, trust me, I know, is going to recoil, you know, and back off and go, hang on a minute, I'm just being completely criticised all the time here and kind of crawl into their shell a bit. So there's a way of bringing things up and discussing things that comes from a place of security. And I really believe that until you're happy and secure with who you are, where you are, it can be quite difficult to be a great partner, you know, and confidence comes in there as well. Many other facets, but it really does start with you. Right person, right place, right time. That's really the ingredients for embarking on a happy and secure relationship. Now the challenge with life is, as we know, life is not a straight line. We have ups and downs, but if you're coming from a secure base, you will feel happy sharing and discussing those fears and concerns with your partner. And this can be a work relationship as well. You know, maybe there's changes going on at work and you're feeling momentarily worried about them. That's very different than being like, oh my God, insecure, you know, everybody's out to get me and, you know, I'm not good enough. You know, if that's a chronic sort of self-talk that you're hearing, that's something to address, because you're probably projecting that onto your partner. Do you know what I mean? It's not actually coming from a secure base. So life does have its ups and downs. And as I always say, we're not robots, we're not perfect. We all have our moments, you know, but if we screw up and say, hands up, sorry, and take accountability, that's a really fantastic relationship trait to have. But in the majority of times we want to sit down and talk to our partners about what's on our mind. So it really does stem from being happy, healthy in yourself, secure in yourself, and being really proactive and committed to maintaining a happy relationship, which for me is really based on teamwork and growing together, you know, grow through your difficulties. Okay, so secondly, being, as I said, appreciating yourself, loving yourself. I was going to say self-love, but that might be misconstrued. But show yourself some love and compassion on Valentine's Day, because that's just as important as showing it to somebody else. I really firmly believe, you know, I think there's a phrase, happiness is an inside job. And very often what goes on for us inside, in our hearts, in our minds, in our thinking, sort of manifests itself in our external results and experiences. Thirdly, if you are, you know, maybe thinking, oh God, Valentine's Day, not really my thing, switch off social media, right? Because sometimes you can see all sorts of posts on social media. Everybody's life's perfect, isn't it? But no, it's not. It's just a snapshot that you're seeing. And the number of people that I've met who have split up with someone and it's like, whoa, hold the phone. You were on Facebook and you had this fantastic picture about how you were getting on so well. It was like, well, it wasn't really quite like that. You know, sometimes social media can be genuine, you know, there's lots of pluses for it, but there's a lot of studies to say that when we're feeling a bit like less than, a bit disempowered, when we see other people apparently feeling a lot happier, perhaps in a relationship or something, and you're not, then it doesn't make us feel so good. So that might be something you want to be aware of, or maybe just stick to the sites that are about empowering quotes on Instagram or something. Don't tell Facebook, I've just mentioned Instagram. Oh, hang on a minute, it's the same company, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the other thing you can do is almost love bomb your friends. Love bombing, I don't know if you've heard of that phrase. That's when you meet someone and they absolutely lay it on thick with the compliments. You're the best thing that's ever happened. They put you on a pedestal, and then they tend to disappear. You know, these relationships start as quickly as they fizzle out. But what you can do, why not love bomb your friends? Not in the way I've just described, but why not show your friends appreciation? You know, friends are just as important as relationships. It's really important we have healthy relationships with our friends, our family, or whatever that support network looks like. So what can you do to show gratitude towards your friends? Could you send somebody a card or a present? Because, you know, there is a secondary gain, as we call it, by doing that. Not only, you know, I sent a card to my friend this week. She's had COVID. She's been really ill. She was like, oh, that was really cheered me up, because I know that's the sort of thing she likes. But also, I kind of feel better in myself for doing it. So that's what we call getting secondary gain. It's not about doing things to be selfish. There's nothing wrong in doing something that makes you feel better as well. It's a win-win situation, isn't it? So, you know, gratitude has been shown in studies, and again, I'll come on to it in a minute. It really reduces stress and depressive symptoms, studies have shown, and it's, you know, it helps us feel happier in ourselves and happier with the quality of our life. It really does, and I will come on to that in a bit. I've got some details here about some experiments and things that were done around gratitude, because we so often read a lot about gratitude and appreciation, but I wanted to give you some facts as well. If you are feeling a bit funny about Valentine's Day, then just feel your feelings. There's an expression that in order to heal it, you've got to feel it. So think of your emotions, your feelings. Your feelings tend to be what's inside of you. They come from your thoughts, your feelings, and then they go outside as emotions, actually. The emotions are the display of your feelings. So it's really important to kind of be attuned to that. Listen to what you're talking to yourself, what you're saying to yourself, and just sit with the feelings. Ride them up and down like waves, because they won't pass. But if you try and resist a negative feeling or resist any kind of feeling, sometimes it's like, like pushing down an inflated beach ball or a football in the water, and it keeps bouncing back up. You can't push it down, and the feelings and emotions are the same. So really take time to engage with your feelings and work out, well, what is it that I need, or what is it I want from my next relationship? What is it I want from my current relationship? Are there things that I could be doing to improve it? Are there skills, because we're not taught relationships at school, and it is a skill set. I'm constantly reading books about relationships, because I think there's some of the more trickier aspects in life, because we expose so much of ourselves. We're so vulnerable in front of somebody else. They see bits of us that nobody else sees. So we have to be really resilient and prepared to be open. So, if you are goal focused and relationships is something you're looking at, take a proactive state of mind. Don't run away from the feelings. Just sit with them and go, okay, this is how I'm feeling for now. Give it a name. Your feeling is not you, remember. And remember, we label feelings as positive or negative. Let's just call them feelings. Let's not attach a charge to them. But just think about, okay, well, what are the top 3 to 5 qualities I want in someone? What are the things that I really can't tolerate? Because if we can't tolerate things, then we mustn't tolerate things. It's not fair on somebody that we're with to pretend we can tolerate something that we can't. And it just leads to frustration. Believe me, I've been there. I've tried it. It doesn't work. You just over-tolerate. So really think about, okay, well, what is it maybe I've learned from my recent relationships? You can even look at feedback at work, because sometimes that gives us a clue. If you've had psychometric testing around, oh, do you know what? I get really triggered when I feel like this. So have a think about what's getting in your way of finding a relationship. I know we're in lockdown, but these can still do video dates and stuff like that and go for walks. And I'm sure it's not going to be like this forever. But as I say, you've got to allow yourself to feel it, to heal it. Get some help if you need to, because it can be quite difficult work to do. Write down what you're feeling, but really sort of work through those feelings, and see where that gets you, and think about, do you know what, I do want to be in a relationship, and change your mindset around that. See a relationship as an opportunity for growth, development, meeting someone new. Even if it doesn't work out, you can always learn something from a relationship, and some relationships don't last forever, and they're not meant to, and that's absolutely fine. But have a think about those top qualities, where your boundaries are, what's negotiable, what's non-negotiable, what maybe some of your deal breakers are, the kind of person, how you want to feel with somebody, what experiences you want to have, and then, God willing, when we all get out of lockdown, think about where those people might be, what hobbies, where they might be, whether it's online, somewhere else, You can still meet people online as well anyway, as long as you're careful, of course. So I'm going to go a bit into the gratitude and appreciation piece now, which is like, I mentioned it at the beginning, but I have got some statistics here and some evidence around gratitude, because there's a lot, you've probably seen things on Instagram about cultivating an attitude of gratitude, but where does this come from? Is it all just quotes on Instagram? No, it's not. There's actually been, I know experiments are experiments, and they're done within the certain confines of an experiment, but there's positive psychology, which is something I've studied, which is, it sounds weird, the science of happiness. And I refer to this quite a lot, because what they've actually found is that resilience is one of the key attributes human beings need to cultivate in order to be happy. And I really firmly believe that resilience, the ability to bounce back, we're not always going to be able to bounce back immediately, but it's important to cultivate that attitude. But there's been a number of experiments on gratitude, and it does have positive mental health benefits. It improves your mood, it leads to lower rates of stress and depression, it's been shown, and giving thanks for things just basically makes you happy if you do it on a regular basis. The word word is derived from a Latin word, which means, I'm reading it here, grace, graciousness or gratefulness, depending on the context. And gratitude, I think, encompasses all of those words, you know, doing things with grace. And it's really a thankful appreciation for something in your life, something you've received, something you are, something you've experienced, something that's outside of you, a quality that's inside of you. There's no right or wrong. It can be something tangible and it can be something intangible. So if you have religious beliefs, you know, maybe it's about, you know, whoever you pray to, and your practice, your religious practice and your religious community. It can be a number of things. And what we're trying to do is really affirm and acknowledge the goodness in our lives. And can you imagine spending every day saying, I hate this, I hate this? Try it. Try it for a day, see how you feel. I bet you're going to feel really grumpy and disempowered, because I've been on calls and workshops where there's been a really negative vibe, and it's like, whoa, I don't want to be around that. It's infectious. We all have moments, of course, where we do feel a bit down, and that's fine. But try it for a day. Try being negative and not expressing gratitude and moaning about everything, and then try it the next day with gratitude and see how different you feel. I bet you feel more empowered with the sort of attitude of gratitude, as we say. And it really helps us to connect to things larger than us, you know, what our skills are, our strengths, what's happening in the big wide world. And it is associated with greater happiness. It improves our health. It helps us to deal with setbacks, and it actually builds relationships, as I've mentioned at the beginning. These are things that you can do with your partner to strengthen your relationship. You can do things such as retrieve positive past memories, being thankful for things in the past, you know, things that happened when you were younger perhaps, or things you've experienced growing up. You could be grateful for the present day, as in not taking good fortune for granted, really stopping to appreciate the things that happen to you, because I bet if you stop to notice, there's a lot more positive things and things to be grateful for than you realise. And perhaps you can be grateful for the future, about, you know, I'm grateful that I'm maintaining a hopeful, optimistic attitude despite everything that's going on. So you can do past, present or future, or a combination of all of those things. But again, there's been a number of experiments, and there was an experiment in the University of California where they got two cohorts, two groups of students, and they asked the students, one group of students, to write a few sentences every week focusing on particular topics. And one of the groups focused their topics on what they were grateful for what occurred during the week. And then, this is aligned to what I was saying before, the second group wrote about things that were irritations, things that they didn't like, things that got on their nerves, things that had affected them, you know, events and things like that. And then after 10 weeks, they did a measurement before about how happy people were feeling, and then a measurement afterwards. And then after 10 weeks, those that had kept the gratitude journal and were optimistic and showed appreciation, they were happier. They were happier according to the scale that they used, and actually they had fewer visits to physicians. Now, I'm not a medical expert, I'm not giving medical advice, I'm just quoting this experiment, which is free to look up on Google. So the ones that focused more on what was annoying them and aggravating them had more trips to the doctor, to the physician. So there's a number of experiments like this. There was another experiment in, I think it was the University of Pennsylvania, and it's about 500 people, and these 500 people were asked to personally deliver and write a gratitude note for somebody that they had never properly thanked or appreciated in their life. And when this group of, I don't know if they were students or adults, I can't remember the ages, but they wrote the appreciation letter, they thought about it, they dropped it off, and the group of 500 people sort of documented that they had a huge increase in their happiness, you know, and they felt the knock-on of that happiness effect for about a month afterwards. So there's been a lot of experiments and studies around this, just to see, well, hang on a minute, how can gratitude really affect us? Obviously it's very variable as humans, we're individuals, but there's really good science around some of this stuff. So gratitude can improve relationships. Again, another study showed, there was a study of couples who and one bunch of couples expressed gratitude, just saying simple thank yous, and over the couple of months they did the experiment, those partners felt very happy in their relationships. They felt happier than the other group. They noticed that they felt more positive towards their partner. And not only that, because they felt more positive, and they always say that if you say one negative thing about your partner, you need to counteract that with, I think it's about 5 positive statements. So you can see the balance there. If you're constantly going, you did this, you did that, that's going to gradually like wear down your partner. On the other hand, if you can find something to be positive about, and I'm not saying sugarcoat any issues that you need to talk about in a healthy, adult, secure way, but over time, the couples that expressed gratitude felt more positive towards their partner, but also they felt more comfortable expressing any concerns. So it had a different effect as well. It wasn't just about the positive aspects, but actually it led them to sort of build a foundation where they could openly talk about things in a constructive way. So, you know, if you're in a committed relationship, you always want to get to a win-win situation. So that's something else that happened. And also there's been a number of experiments about, and this one again I think was in the US, about, I think it was around students and research students, and there was 2 groups, and they were 2 groups of fundraisers actually, and they were assigned this task in different ways. One of the groups received a pep talk, and the person running the fundraising task and the study told the fundraisers on a regular basis that she was grateful for their efforts, she really appreciated what they were doing, gave them regular pep talks. And between that group and the other group that didn't receive the pep talk, didn't get sort of regular recognition and thank yous, the difference was that those that received the gratitude messages made 50% more calls and raised 50% more funds than those that didn't. So this is why reward and recognition at work is becoming more and more important. You know, even a simple thank you, but I'm sure a lot of companies now have points-based systems. You can reward a colleague, and it does increase performance. So you can see it affects all different aspects of life. And it's been shown that gratitude is a real sign of emotional maturity, which is a good thing in relationships, because if you're emotionally mature, you can self-regulate your emotions. You're not all over the place reacting and acting defensively. So it really has a number of knock-on effects, not just for Valentine's Day. So this is really about focusing on what you do have rather than what you don't have. It might feel weird at first to be reflecting, saying these things, writing these things down. It might feel a bit fake, but you'll get better at it with practice. You know, your ability to do it will get stronger and stronger over time with use and practice. So what could you do for yourself? Well, everything you would do for somebody else. Why not write yourself a thank you letter? Why not send yourself a card, stick it in the post, send it to yourself? It might sound a bit weird, but it's quite funny. Write yourself a letter, write things that you appreciate about yourself and post it to yourself. If you're busy, just spend, like, as you're going through your day, thinking about, you know what, I'm really grateful for this person. Just think about the things you're grateful for, or say, do you know what, I'm really grateful for my heating being on because it's a cold day, you know, something like that. Just think about those things as you go along the day, and you'll find that your happiness will start to increase. If you want to go further, you can write things down. So you could write 3 or 5 things down at the end of every month, at the end of every day is fantastic, even better. And keep a journal of the things you're grateful for. Some people write things down on a post-it note and stick it in a jar, and then they count up the number of post-it notes in the jar and buy themselves a treat with it. I think it's called the gratitude jar, clues in the title. So that's something else you can do as well. And, you know, I don't know if you are religious, but, you know, whatever you believe in, whether it's, you know, you follow Buddhist, practices, or perhaps you're religious, you may feel that you want to give thanks to a higher purpose and believe that you're part of a bigger purpose, a bigger thing than life here on earth. So that's something else you can do, is like cultivate a really affirmative, empowering religious or spiritual practice, and just count your blessings. You know, count your blessings, at least 3 to 5 every week, and write them down. Count what you're grateful for, what you're blessed for. And again, meditation is another fantastic technique, because meditation really means that we're focusing on the present, and it means that, you know, you can do this silently. You can just do it for a few minutes every day and build up if you want. You can actually do you know, like mindful walking or exercising. As you're walking or exercising, be mindful, and I don't mean meditate, close your eyes when you're running, but you can actually listen to affirmations and things like that to combine exercise and meditation. But you've obviously got your eyes open, but it's in motion, so it's like building in you all the time. But meditation allows us to be completely present. We don't worry about the past, we don't worry about the future, we focus on the present, and it gives us a lot of peace, and it does have a number of health benefits in terms of reducing stress as well. And within that, you can actually just say to yourself as you start your meditation, gratitude or appreciation, and just see what comes up for you. Don't attach yourself to what comes up to you in your meditation. Just let it go like clouds, because we don't know what to attach to things, because we're aiming to relax and just ultimately get peace, regulate our breathing. So yeah, so that was a bit more this evening about gratitude, about appreciation. This is something I work on a lot with my clients, whether they're coming to me for personal coaching, life coaching or career coaching. You know, gratitude and appreciation is going to be something that is never going to fail you. It might feel a bit weird, but sometimes the simplest and easiest things to do can often have the most impact, and that's what positive psychology tells us. It doesn't have to be massive gestures, like I said at the beginning about relationships. It can be small things done very well on a regular basis. So positive psychology says actually the happiest relationships are these small moments of sort of experiences that you have with each other, these experiences that you enjoy together. It's not always the big holiday or this, that and the other. It might be for you. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's not everything. So today I've gone over how you can what's the word? I was going to say tackle Valentine's Day or experience Valentine's Day, either if you're in a relationship or you're single. And then I've gone into a bit more detail about gratitude and appreciation, why it's important, the benefits of it, and some techniques you might want to choose to improve your gratitude. I know it might be really difficult to do that at the moment, but I promise you, when I first started doing this kind of work years ago, thoughts are like magnets. The more that you, and actually science has proved that as well, because you can actually see scans of thoughts joining other thoughts in the brain. It's really interesting. I shared it on Facebook ages ago actually. But thoughts are like magnets. So if you think a negative thought's going to join it. But if you flip it and go gratitude, appreciation, positivity, you're going to get more of those thoughts. So you might start off thinking, do you know what, I've got nothing to be grateful for. There is going to be something that you can find that's right in front of you that you can be grateful for, whether it's like, you know, the cool fresh air or something. It doesn't matter. The more that you find, it's like finding your strengths. The more that you find to be grateful for, the better it gets, the more you find. So it is like a magnetic effect. So let me know how you get on with those exercises. I'm going to post this onto my Facebook page now. Thank you for listening, and whatever you're doing, have an amazing Valentine's Day. Take care. Bye.